Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Warren from the Rhapsody Piano Studio. Welcome to today's live stream. We're going to be learning the Christmas Waltz. And this is from the Simply Christmas Piano Collection. Hey, what is up, Chris? Easy like a Sunday morning. Oh, that's a pretty good song. I might look into that. Let me see if I can find a version of that online. And congratulations on your piano. I know what it feels like to get a new toy, but if you get something like a piano, man, that must be like Christmas times 10. All right. Before we start, make sure you pick up a sheet music. The link to the sheet music will be in the video cards after the live stream is over. And after you're done with this lesson, as I say in every lesson these days, this is the game plan, the blueprint, the study guide that I'm trying to show you here. If you want to really test it out and see if you can learn on your own, which is the ultimate goal of any teacher, I believe, then also go on over to the tutorial, which will be in the description, and also the cards. And I try to make it easily accessible. So make sure you pick up the sheet music and also try to learn on your own with the tutorial. Okay, let's get started. Christmas Waltz 1. Just a quick thing before we start. If you haven't subscribed, if you're just watching this, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to catch whenever I go live on these lessons. And for the month of December, it's kind of obvious, we're just going to do a lot of Christmas songs. Okay, here's Christmas Waltz. I'm going to show you how to practice this. And this is for easy piano, but it's kind of like almost early intermediate. So it's not necessarily easy, but it's not necessarily intermediate. So it's kind of this weird gray area in between. You're gonna have to be comfortable with lots of jumps. Okay, so that's something to get used to. And if it's your first introduction, no worries, because it's something you can totally learn on this song anyway. Okay. The whole entire page. All right, so we're gonna go back and we're going to split this up. And yes, we're going to split this up. So I'd say go from the beginning to I'm not really too familiar with this song, so let's figure out where is the first section to practice. So let's see: frosted window panes, candles gleaming inside, painted candy canes on the tree, Santa. That's a good place to stop. That's all the way at measure 12. However, that's a bit much. So let's see if we can shorten that. So instead of going all the way to measure 12, let's stop at measure 8. Okay, let me play that for you. It's kind of weird actually, but anyway, it is kind of a weird place to stop, but it's half of the page, so it makes sense. Musically, to me, it's kind of hard to divide this. But anyway, it's a good place to stop. Beginning to measure 8. Now we're just going to simply play one hand at a time. Okay, let's try it together. A little bit slower. Ready, set, go. If you can't reach that with a 4, you use a 5 instead. Okay? Alright, left hand. Okay, so basically, here's the pattern. And it's basically an F major chord. They're doubling the bass down here. Show you one more time. Okay, ready, set, go. Okay, so I kind of pounded that bass a little bit too much, but what I like to do, and it's just good musical principles, by the way, you want to highlight the bass a little bit more. So we have less in the middle notes. I'd like to play the softer, but this piano, it's really hard to get a soft sound out of it. Or something like that, okay? All right, do that if you can. It's a semi-advanced concept, so see if you can try it out. Beginning to measure 8, left hand, ready, set, go. Okay, back to both hands. All right, ready, set, go. Okay, we're gonna continue on, and I'm just gonna go all the way to the bottom of the page. However, I measure 12. That's sort of the beginning of the next section, but because there's a page turn here, I'm just gonna go all the way to the bottom of the page, okay? So inside, it's kind of awkward place to stop, but you know, I don't want to keep flipping back and forth between these pages. All right, now here's just the right hand. Okay, ready, set, go. All right, and then if it wasn't obvious, left hand now. Okay, so sometimes it's good to play the harmony. If it makes sense to you at this point, you might not necessarily be able to do some harmonic analysis yet. By the way, I didn't say anything about note reading, but at this level, you shouldn't be struggling to read the notes. It shouldn't be perfect, but you should be able to read these notes, so that's why I encourage you to get the sheet music. All right, let's try left hand together. Ready, set, go. And back to both hands. Okay, I'll just slow it down. All right, ready, set, go. Let me try that again. Ready, set, go. Okay, now we simply just go back to the beginning because we have one part, we have another part. So we had half a page, the other half a page. We're just going to put it together from the very beginning. We're going to call this process small chunking. Oh, excuse me. So bits and pieces at a time. Okay. So whenever you have one chunk and the next chunk, you want to connect them together into a bigger section. Okay. So from the beginning, sounds like this. Go back, give you right hand, left hand, hands together, multiple different combinations, simplifying it, and also doing, like I said, combinations. Okay, together, of course, we're gonna go slower. Ready, set, go. Alright, back to left hand. Okay, together now, a lot slower. Ready, set, go. Sometimes that note doesn't come out. Now, I actually haven't given you some pointers on how to practice jumps. So these are not too bad. But here, you just focus on playing it and then moving as fast as possible to the next notes, and then playing that. It's kind of like touch and play, right? So I have my finger touching this key. As soon as I play it, I move over to the other key, and as soon as my fingers, I can feel the keys underneath the fingertips, then I play it. Same thing here. You know, I don't have to repeat some notes. It's not necessary. So that's how I would practice it. It's helpful to do it with the metronome as well, so you don't have to think about like, now, yeah, now, should I move now? No, it's just like, you know, focus on the beats like here, 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 and you go faster and faster until your hands kind of do it on your own, which we call muscle memory, okay? Top of the page, left hand together, ready, set, go. Chris, what kind of piano did you get? I kind of forgot what it was you're getting. If you're still there. All right, it's both hands. Okay, ready, set, go. One page down, 2 pages to go. Also, I'll say a quick little thing about repetition. It's a little bit of an advanced concept, but at this level, I think you can start to look into it. Look up spaced repetition. You're gonna have to do a little bit of research because it takes forever to explain it. But the short explanation is instead of doing it 10 times in a row, like, you know, perfectly, which is the traditional approach, that's good for short-term results. If you want something longer term, instead of just doing it a million times in a row, you just try it a few times, get it good enough. Whether you're doing right hand, hands together, hands separate, you know, you kind of have to judge there, like, you know, figure it out for yourself if you're doing hands separate or not. Just try it a few times, you wait a little bit, and in the meantime, while you're waiting, you can be practicing another part of the song or a different song entirely. Then you come back, you know, maybe 10-15 minutes have passed, and you try it again. And depending on how hard it is or easy, like if it's harder, then you want to wait a little bit less time. When it gets easier, you can wait longer times. And you get to the point where you're doing the entire songs and you're waiting like a couple days and then to like a week in between practicing them. So it's also not necessary to do it every single day as well. So spaced repetition, look it up online. All right, here's the next page. You can hear like the beginning of it's the beginning of the song. So that section we'll talk about later, right? So we're just going from the top of the page to top of the page to measure 21. Now, if you're practicing at home and you can pause this, go ahead and do that because you're actually gonna want to take it from measure 12 on the previous page. But you know, for this live stream, I don't want to do that because it's gonna get annoying and annoying for you as well, like flipping between pages and whatnot. So for continuity purposes, all right, here's just the right hand. Make sure you reach over to the black key. Okay, it's gonna be a short section. Ready, set, go. Left hand. Let me try it again. Okay, it's not coming out today. Alright, ready, set, go. And back to both hands. Ready, set, go. Okay, so next part. it's pretty much the same thing up until, I would say, roughly measure 28. So we're gonna skip this whole part until 28. So we're just gonna practice from 28 now. Okay, we're gonna stop at 35. 28 to 35. Here's the section. Let me play for you one more time. Okay, it could get a little tricky at 32 because look at the left hand here. So it's kind of like one motion. I'm kind of over exaggerating it. It's like a little circular there. Or you go left, right, left, down, up. Anyway, okay, here's just the right hand. Merry Christmas, 28. Okay, we're gonna count the rest. I'm gonna say ready, set, go, rest. Merry Christmas, okay? Ready, set, go, rest. Alright, back to left hand. Ready, set, go. Alright, back to both hands. Ready, set, go. Alright, we're going to finish the rest of this. Alright, so before we finish up and wrap up this lesson, pretty short lesson today, if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you find it valuable, if you feel like I've been helping you, and that's always my goal, to help you, educate you guys online, sometimes entertain. So if this is helping you, go ahead and hit that video. Let me know that you guys are liking this stuff. And of course, if you know anyone who wants to play this on piano, share this with them as well. And if you haven't subscribed, what you waiting for, man? Okay, or woman. All right, last part, 35 to the end. Just the right hand. All right, ready, set, go. Song of mine. All right, left hand. Wow. Okay, ready, set, go. Alright, by the way, stick around for the recap at the end. It'll be a quick recap. Okay, back to both hands. Okay, this could be a little tricky. They're asking for a 1-3-1, but I think you can just do 1-2-1. The secret is, as soon as this thumb leaves the key, and then when you play the second finger, you want to already be making the motion. And you might want to slow it down when you're practicing. When you go slower too, by the way, you could probably do a nice legato like so. But when you go faster, you're probably not going to get that, okay? Alright. Something like that, okay? Both hands, ready, set, go. And that is it. Actually, let's go back. Might as well connect it from the top of the page. So I'm going to go back to 26 and give you this entire section. Okay, right hand. Together from on 28. Remember, we're going to count the rest. All right, ready, set, go, rest. Oh my God, let me try that again. Ready, set, go, rest. All right, left hand. Ready, set, go. Back to both hands. Ready, set, go. Alright, and that is it for this lesson. Short one today. Thanks so much for joining me. This is a quick recap, by the way. What makes this difficult, and I call this an easy song, but it's kind of up there in early intermediate, almost on that borderline and becoming early intermediate. So for this song, you're going to be having to get comfortable with just jumps in the left hand. Right hand, not so much. It's all right. But the left hand, you have to be comfortable with, jumps. Left hand, I think I said left hand, yeah. And reviewing the important concepts on how to practice. The first one was just small chunking, picking the smallest part and then just practicing that, and then simplifying it, doing right hand, left hand, hands together, all these different combinations. Don't just only do right hand, don't just only do left hand. I mean, it's just common sense stuff, but it's striking to me how people don't really have common sense these days. So I have to tell my students that you have to practice your left hand more. I think that's kind of obvious, but I don't want to insult your intelligence either. But you should. If left hand is a little bit difficult for you, and if you're right-handed, that's usually the case. You need to practice your non-dominant hand way more. And the same goes for left-handed pianists, by the way. Okay. So small chunking, smallest part, then you do another chunk, then you combine bigger and bigger sections until you have the entire song. So you see here we did like one page at a time until you get to the point where you're doing all 3 pages, okay? Now the second important concept, I don't really have a lot of time to explain it, it's called spaced repetition. Just a quick little reminder for my dogs go crazy because people knocking on the door. So spaced repetition, instead of doing the traditional way, which is actually not a good way to practice, it just works in the short term, all right? So instead, it's like cramming for a test, It's like doing an all-nighter. That's fine, but if you really want to learn the material, that's not really a good way to learn. So instead of doing it like 20 times in a row perfectly, forget all that. Just do a few times, whatever section is you're practicing, then move on to something else, practice something else. Doesn't have to be the same song, it could be something completely different. And then you're going to wait a little bit of time, like 10 minutes or so, come back to that same part and practice it again. Hence the spacing part, okay? But anyway, go ahead and look that up online. It's just not enough time to explain that. I could go on hours for this, believe me. So yeah, that is it. And if you want to check out more of my lessons, I highly suggest you visit the website because everything is a lot more organized on there. It's just really hard to, YouTube is kind of distracting with all this playlists and all that. So if you want something that's more easy to read in alphabetical, numerical, whatever order, it's just a lot easier. So I highly recommend you check out the website. Make sure you pick up a copy of the sheet music and make sure you try to test your own knowledge in the tutorial. So this is basically the lesson without the explanation, okay? And last but not least, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share this video. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys for the next lesson. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a good day.